don't know how the professional speakers do it, but in Bronwyn's book it says drama, drama, drama. No, it wasn't, it was showbiz. Showbiz. I'm not a natural speaker, so forgive me tonight. In the company of, prestigious company of all you wonderful speakers here tonight. On behalf of Scoop's Theatre of Books, we'd like to welcome you here. For those of you that have been here for the first time, shame on you. Seriously, shame on you. Please like our Facebook page. Those of you that do come here quite often know that we have, in the last 14 months, launched 120 South African authors in the store. South African authors are the best. We have a couple in the house tonight, and I'm sure that they'll be networking with you tonight. And all the way from Cape Town, it is a great privilege. We met through Jacques de Villiers, and I want to say thank you to Jacques. Jacques' been coming to the store, and he said, I have this wonderful author in Cape Town. It's very hard to do, to try and put these things together on Facebook. Is somebody here tonight? No. From people that are far away, but look at you all here tonight. I mean, isn't this fantastic? Brian, this is just absolutely fantastic. And I want to say thank you to Jacques de Villiers for bringing you here. All the way from Cape Town, another Cape Town author, because they don't have anything like this in Slopstad. We need to talk about that. We're actually trying to change that there. So they have to come to Johannesburg, to the best bookshop in Johannesburg. So on behalf of Street Theatre Book, let's give a round of applause to Bronwyn Hesketh, please. Plenty of food tonight, books at the top of the table, bathrooms on my left-hand side. We have it all here in lifts, as you can see. We cater for everything. So without any further ado, Lawrence, thank you very much for coming to play the piano for Bronwyn tonight. Thank you very much. And my blogger, Kim Hunter, for always being here. She's actually live streaming all this. If you've got any gripes about being on Facebook or anything, just speak now, forever hold your peace. So without any further ado, your MC for this evening, Mr. Jacques de Villiers.
Thank you very much. I recognize a few faces. I don't think I've seen so many speakers in the room since there was free food and they were auctioning off 20 professional speaking gigs at 20,000 Rand, so welcome. So, yep, as unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, it's really exciting to be here in front of all of you. And I think we've all, we've all know Bronwyn. You know, I've known Bronwyn for 20 years, since 1997, probably as a lot of you have known her for that long. She's my oldest and dearest friend, long-standing and dearest friend. Probably everybody, most of you in this room who aren't new speakers, have probably at some time have been placed by Bronwyn. She's placed more than 7,200 speakers in 20 years. I worked it out, that's like 150 million Rands worth of business that she's created for people. So I think she's, yeah, it's a lot of money. But I was kind of going at 12K a gig, because I know you guys all go at 20, but we were doing it at 12. So you're a powerhouse. So there we go. So, but what I think has happened is that Bronwyn has opened doors for many of us. I know she opened a door for me when, I had this ridiculous notion of becoming a professional speaker, because I was in the era of Mike Lipkin. Remember Mike? Yes, and I think we still have to take our hats off to Mike, because he kind of made public professional speaking sexy. He brought it out into the open, and I think that's when we all thought, yes, we can do it. Most of us couldn't, but we tried to do it. So that's why we went to Bronwyn, and I was still at Toastmasters, and they said, come and see me, like, wow. It was my worst paid speech ever. I was so nervous, but she saw a small piece of potential in me and opened a couple of doors for me, and I've had a 20-year speaking career, so I really thank you for that. And in the process, much better than all the speaking work you've given me is that your friendship. It's been amazing. We've been through tough times and the good times together. We kind of know each other's secrets, and yeah, so it's awesome for me to be here. So yeah, that's enough from me. I'd like to bring up Douglas Kruger. Where are you? Of course, you're on my right, as you are, as a good speaker. So now most of you know Douglas Kruger. I come from the Karoo, and I can't spell the word or say it, but it's called ubiquitous. So he's well known to everybody. He's a 5-time South African champion speaker. He just missed coming first in the World Championships, but he was almost there. That was brilliant. So he's a brilliant speaker. He's written, I think, 5 books. Probably going to write a whole lot more. He's been published by Penguin. So he's not your indie author. I think he's kind of mainstream at the moment, being published by Penguin. But he's influencing the world in many, many ways. And whenever I go to a bookshop, I'm always seeing his stuff there. I get Rebecca to pose and take a photo, and so we always support him on social media. But I think we have a serious author and a serious speaker in our midst, and he's going to say a few words regarding Bronwyn. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Douglas Kruger.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you. In one form or another, everyone gathered here today wields and works with words. And as Jacques was saying, we have people here who have been in the industry for 20 years and in some cases 30 years and more. And also gathered in the room, we have people just starting out and looking at that horizon with equal hope and fear. And I wonder if you can still remember the first day when you made the decision to become a professional speaker or to associate yourself with this world. And that was the glamorous bit, but I wonder if you can remember that night and the subsequent nights. After the sun has gone down, before the sun has come up, when you wake up and worry about whether or not you're going to make it. Because folks, when you think about it, on the surface of it, just looking at this industry, it's bizarre that it works. We take ideas, we send words out into the universe, and we charge for it. It's actually incredible that you can make a career out of that. And again, I wonder if you remember the twist in your stomach and that cold feeling of fear when you wondered whether or not you could really get by in this world. There are so few guides in the professional speaking industry. When I started out, the first group that I stumbled upon was Toastmasters, and they essentially teach the platform skills, the how-to. But you look around you and there are so few people who teach the business side of things. Now folks, we're here tonight honoring a lady who has done at least 2 major things, created 2 major milestones in the professional speaking world. We'll get to her book in just a second, but I wonder if you know that she was one of the founding members of the Professional Speakers Association of Southern Africa. It was called the NSA at the time, and that was where Toastmasters is the platform side of things. The Professional Speakers Association was the business and how-to side of things. And not only was she instrumental in putting together the architecture of what became the PSA, but she was a part of the networking, the encouragement, really drawing this industry together and making it something for real in this country. Now it's already going on a couple of decades ago. And since then, she has been a cheerleader and a shining light, lifting up speakers in this country. How wonderful then that we reverse the scenario tonight and we can be her cheerleader and shine the light on her. Ladies and gentlemen, won't you please just join me in applauding her? Bronwyn, just stand up for a second. And of course, the second milestone is the one that we celebrate tonight, her new book, Speaker Savvy. And I love the dark theatre of the sub-headline, which is Wisdom from the Dark Side. Luke, I am your mother. And I had the pleasure and privilege of reading this book before it came out. And folks, this can and will carve years off your learning curve. Bronwyn goes into things like, can you and should you self-publish? What sort of products and revenue streams should you look at as a speaker? How do you design a message that sells and gets you repeat bookings? She looks at how to approach a speakers bureau, and perhaps more critically, how not to approach a speakers bureau. And as you flip through the pages, and I'm sure you've already bought your copy, as you get into the pages, you'll hear her voice in the writing. There's, on the surface of it, there's that lovely, caustic, sarcastic wit that we know and love about Bronwyn. But underlying that is the fact that she deeply and genuinely cares about this industry. That's something absolutely wonderful. And this book gives us some of the metrics that we really should look out for as professional speakers. As we get into this industry, it's easy to work very hard and make very fundamental mistakes. I'll give you a simple example. Driven by ego, as a lot of speakers are, when I started out, I thought the ultimate metric was audience applause. If you can get a standing ovation, you are doing it right. Turns out that's one of the least important metrics in this industry. And Bronwyn will then guide you around those simple mistakes and those differences in perception that can cut years off your learning curve. So ladies and gentlemen, with her second major milestone in terms of uplifting the standard and the professionalism of speaking in this nation, once again, a warm round of applause for Bronwyn Hesketh.
I snuck around there, didn't I? Right, you can sit now. All right, well, Bronwyn, why don't you come up? The way we're going to do it, normally the author does a speech, what I will read from the book, but we're going to do more of a question-answer thing. And so I'm going to ask Bronwyn some questions, and she's going to illuminate some of the great challenges of being speakers. And maybe you can ask her some questions later. I had to write them down because not being an actor, my memory's not that great, so I write them down. I mean, I don't know if you're like me, but you use your slides as aids, not as aids. Visual aids, you need to prompt you what the hell to say next. Well, that's me. All right, so Bronwyn, I wrote you. I want to ask, why do you do this? And I was going to ask, is it for the money? But clearly not, because you don't know how much you make. So is it for fame, or why do you do this?
Thank you, Jacques. You'll see that I'm not really wearing much makeup tonight, and the reason for that is I'm about to look like a panda, because I get very emotional about my work and my business and the people that I work with. And at some point tonight, maybe 2 or 3, I'm going to cry. So just go with the flow. So why do I do what I do? Yes, when I helped start the Professional Speakers Association, or the NSA, a long time ago, I was at a dinner with some international speakers and a few South Africans. And, you know, we often joke about our friend Julius Malema calling us bloody agents. Well, we really are seen in the best light. Us and estate agents, I think, are pretty much on the same path. So everybody thinks that I do it for the money. Thank you, Jacques, for that. I don't. Okay. But this guy, this speaker who's since immigrated, would not let it go. And I tried to fob it off and not go there, and he wouldn't. He just let it. Tell me. So I told him, and if you'll indulge me for a minute or two, I'll tell you. 18 years ago, I had the enormous privilege of driving Alison down to do a talk at the Vaal River. I'm sure you all know who Alison is. She was the lady who was raped and stabbed and left for dead in PE. One of my personal heroes, a remarkable woman. And I'd listened to the talk a few times before, so I wasn't really watching what she was doing, I was watching the audience. And in the hour that she spoke, nobody poured a glass of water, nobody opened a sweetie. They were completely riveted on what she had to say. I must tell you that this was not our usual white-collar corporate audience. They were the advertisers in the Yellow Pages. Now, quick, who remembers the Yellow Pages? Give your age away? Yeah? Okay, that's us. So they were plumbers and electricians. They weren't really, accountants and bookkeepers and marketing people. At the end of the talk, she got a standing ovation. So I guess she was Douglas. She was doing okay with a standing ovation. And I helped her sell her books, and we were walking out of the room, and there was a man lurking on the right-hand side of the room, literally lurking. And we were walking towards the door with the event organizer, and he, again, literally, like a crab, sidled up to us. And he said to her, Alison, last year my 13-year-old son stood on a bridge, and he was going to jump. And he thought to himself that if you could make it, so could he. So I'm just here to thank you for saving my son's life, even though you'll never meet him. 20 years later, I still have goosebumps, I still get emotional. And that's really why I do what I do. I don't have the messages that all of you have. What I do have is the capacity to put you in front of your audiences. And I really do have the coolest job in the world. True story. That's why I do what I do.
So we all know you as Bronwyn from Speakers Inc. But how would you describe yourself? I know how to describe you, but how would you describe yourself?
Should I describe myself as I would like a lady, or you want the truth? Which would?
I think just sanitize.
Sanitize version, okay. I think that I'm a control freak. I'm driven. I'm passionate. I don't think I'm the dumbest person in the room. Sorry. And I am more than anything else in the world a mom.
That buggered my other question, but I'm going to know how to do that. But I'd certainly describe you as really passionate. That's amazing. Okay, so what I believe you're an avid wine drinker.
I am. I'm having.
Yeah, but yeah, it's going to dry your throat up. You can have it later. You're a chef. You're a dedicated mom, and now you're also president of the Cape Town Professional Speakers Association chapter. You're a licensee of Petra Kucha. And she even runs a gym.
No,
Owns a gym. God help it, you run a gym. Okay, I thought the egos were sitting there, but they're sitting here. But that's okay. You own the boss, you're the boss. So, you know, many of us here are speakers, and some of us have written books. Those of us hadn't, should be writing books. But where do we find the time? Where do you find the time to have written this book?
Between the hours of 4 o'clock and 6:30 in the morning. So what I did was I got very clever. I patted myself on the back for not being the dumbest person in the room, and I got an accountability buddy, another speaker, and we would meet once a week. It was 12 weeks before my birthday, and somebody once gave me a really great piece of advice on how to start a book, where to start, how to go about it. And I figured I had 12 chapters to write, and I had 12 weeks to go to my birthday. So if I met with a letter once a week and we each had our chapters prepared, it would be cool. We'd be done in 12 weeks. So you asked me to describe myself. So the one thing I would say is that I suck as an accountability buddy, because I finished my book and she's still busy with hers 18 months later. So yeah, it's discipline. The writing was really easy for me, actually, because it's the extension of a conversation I've had with so many people over 20 years. That was the easy part for me. The rest of it was getting it out of the ether into the real world. That was my challenge.
Look, I think for most of us, writing should be pretty easy, but the hard part is getting our bum glued to the chair for an hour a day. But just in case you think it's a problem, an hour a day, most of you can probably type 300 words, am I right? I should hope so by now.
300 what's best?
No, an hour.
An hour, 300 words.
Yeah, I know you do 200 a minute, but because you're going to now be in competition. But 300 words an hour, if you do that every day for a year, that's 109,000 words. So there's 3 books there. So don't tell me you can't write. Okay. So there we go. Why did you write this book? I kind of can guess why you wrote the book, but maybe you can tell us and I'll give my insight afterwards.
So on New Year's Day, generally between midnight and 2 a.m., and on a Sunday morning between midnight and 4 a.m., I get about, on average, every year, 40 emails from people in the middle of the night telling me that this is their year, they are now going to become professional speakers, and where should they start? And in the 20 years I've been doing this, not a single one of them, by the way, that has written that email to me in the middle of the night has ever become a motivational speaker, a professional speaker, and any kind of speaker. Because I think when they're looking down the barrel of another week in a job that they hate or another year in a life that they're not happy with. They look at the lives of speakers and they think, oh, how cool is that? Let's do that. I can do that. I can speak. Yeah. Okay. So, and then I got kind of tired of having meetings with people and telling them all the stuff that's in the book. So I thought, well, here we go. Write the book. Stop drinking coffee. Stop paying to drink coffee with people who want my advice.
Yeah, I find that kind of funny. I play speakers from time to time, and so we go out for coffee, and then they make you pay for it. It's like, oh, die arme goeters. But anyway, so they make you pay for it. But yeah, and I'm on the bones of my ass. I'm going, whatever, buddy, you pay for it. And I'm so happy because I also, people, I have a template email set up for speakers who want to break into the thing. And first thing I used to say, go and read Dottie Walters' Speak and Grow Rich. Then, thank God, Jane Atkinson came onto the scene, the wealthy speaker. And I said, go get her ebook. It's only $10. Oh, what, $10? Then people don't want to invest in them. So, and now, thank goodness, I can now say, go and get Bronwyn's book so we can support a South African speaker too. So that, sorry, not speaker, agent. Author, sorry, author, of course. Bronwyn likes to correct, but that's okay. But she didn't send me her book for editing, I wonder why.
Yes, I wonder. It was the French.
So, yeah. In fact, that's why, because I edit as well, and the only way I keep my friendships is not to edit their books anymore. I said, do you really want feedback? So I just don't edit. Or I charge a hell of a lot of money, so it's worth breaking up the friendship.
I didn't even ask him.
So why do you think that there's a need for this particular book for speakers?
Okay. So there's Toastmasters, which is an amazing organization which teaches speakers the structure and timekeeping. Toastmasters, timekeepers, amazing. But there's nobody really telling people how to do the business end of it. Many people think that you simply get on a stage and you speak and money just piles up in your bank account while you're sleeping. And of course everybody wants to do that, but it doesn't work like that. There really is a business model behind it. And the money doesn't pile up. I wish it would.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because I think most of us can do a good show, but it's trying to get onto the stage to do the good show that's the problem. So I certainly think teaching us how to the business end is important. So Aracha, I'm sure that after 20 years in the industry, you have more stories to share than you have in your book. How did you decide on the content and the chapters for this particular book?
Again, it was just, I wrote down all the things that people most frequently ask me. And then I just answered those questions. I think one of the nicest compliments I've got about the book was from Graham Codrington, who wrote the foreword for me. And when he got the book, he came back and he said, I've just read it on a plane to, I don't know, wherever he was going, as Graham does. It was like we were sitting next to each other on the aeroplane, having a conversation about this industry we both love so much. And for me, that was a huge compliment, because that's really what I want. I don't want it to be a textbook. It's anecdotal. Yes, there's just a little bit of sarcasm in there every now and then. Don't know why, don't know where it comes from. Don't look at my mother. Okay. Yeah, and I think that's...
Well, speaking about Graham, who's not here, is he not overseas or something? Cape Town. Oh, Cape Town. Oh my God, he must be slumming it because he's normally overseas. Shame. Travel business costs. Not that I'm jealous. No, at all. But in Graham's forward, he said that not everyone agrees with you. In fact, most people that have met with you haven't agreed with you. Why would he say something like that?
I don't know. I need to ask him why. I don't know. I think I'm perfectly reasonable. So I actually did. When he wrote the foreword, I read it, and he said, feel free to edit as you like. And I didn't. Neither his nor David's. I didn't change. David's, I corrected the grammar. Be very proud of me. It was horrendous. He's clearly a chef and a runner and an adventurer and not an author. That's, And I got this from Graham, and I got all the way, and it was like really nice things. And then he said, as you'll see, we haven't always agreed. And I thought, okay, well, that's a fair statement. And the next sentence says, well, in fact, I don't know anybody who has always agreed with Bronwyn. And I, wait a minute. Wait a minute, I don't know about that. Okay. So I will be asking him. But I think it's because I've been fairly outspoken about some things in the industry which I haven't agreed with. I've gone about building my business on what I call the 4 pillars of honesty, integrity, trust, and loyalty. And there are people in this industry who don't operate with that. And so, yeah, I've been quite vocal about that.
Yeah, we disagreed once. We didn't speak for 2 years, but I'm glad we're back on track. Okay, it was a year. It wasn't quite 2 years. But with Bronwyn, it was like me being with my bank manager. He said, "Please take a seat, Jacques." I said, "I'm comfortable on my knees, thanks." Begging. Please be my friend. I have so few.
To be fair, he did write me an email when he had a heart attack.
Yeah, but
From your hospital bed.
yes, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you caused the heart attack. No, that was something else. Okay, so I'm sure you've probably seen more than your fair share of things in this industry. What is your favorite war story or something that springs to mind? Because I mean, it is the dark secrets, you know. So, is there anything you can share with us, or something that really irritates you about speakers?
Where do I start? There's so many. For 20 years, Monique worked for me 16 years ago. And back then I was saying, I'm going to put this in my book. Bloody hell, I'm going to put this one in my book. And we've laughed and we've cried and we've sworn and we've laughed some more and then we've wept tears, hot tears. War stories. I think probably I've got 2. I have a war story about you. But this is not a bad one. So Jacques and I have been friends, as he said, for 20 years. And I value loyalty enormously. It's really high up on my list of values. So we were at the Dome. I don't know if we've gone to some show or other, some exhibition, I forget what. And we were sitting at the Wimpy. And the other thing I absolutely value in somebody is a sense of humour. If you can't laugh, we have nothing really to have any common ground about. So we were sitting having hot chocolate. It was winter. Do you remember? And Jacques said something so funny that on my daughter's life, I laughed so hard that I snorted hot chocolate out my nose.
That's beautiful.
So, one of my sexiest moments. And then I think the most dramatic war story that I can share with you without getting sued is no names, no factual. Somebody who was supposed to have been up at Sun City emceeing a full-day conference for a large financial services industry. And I turned on the TV one morning, and instead of being at Sun City, he was on TV. I just had Jordan. Jordan was about, 2 months old. So I had all those, pregnancy hormones. And I know that you lose all your brain when you're pregnant. So I was like, I'm sure he's not supposed to be on TV. What the hell? And I went to look at the file. It was definitely the right date. And then I thought, no, they don't. This is a live show. They don't pre-record this. Phoned him. Phone was off. Oddly, when you're on air, you switch your phone off. Some people do that. And couldn't get hold of him. Phoned his wife in an absolute panic and said, he's supposed to be at Sun City. The conference is starting at 8 o'clock and it's 7:15. He's never going to get to Sun City in time to start this. What? Oh, she says he'll check it. Just keep sending him an SMS. He'll check it during the break. Well, 5 breaks went by and he didn't check. So I think it was about 7:10. So 25 minutes of profuse sweating and swearing had happened. And I remember Michelle worked for me at the time, and she came in, and I was pacing around my dining room lounge area like a caged wild animal. Baby in this arm, cell phone in this arm. Occasionally trying to close their ears and the cell phone at the same time and blurting out more profanities. And I chartered a helicopter to get him to Sun City on time. And he agreed. He then phoned me back and said, yeah, I know, okay, yes, I remember that. Wow. But you have a contract which you signed. Anyway, I was much younger then and not quite as full of nonsense as I am now. So I didn't get all belligerent with him. I just said to him, so I've organised a helicopter. Please will you leave the studio and go straight to the helipad at the Mill Park Hospital? Okay, he says. He left. So I had to pay a 10,000 Rand deposit for them to even take off in the helicopter, before they would even listen to me. 10,000 Rand. I didn't ask him to pay for it. It was, for me, it was all about getting him there on time, about my reputation, about my integrity, and fulfilling my end of the bargain, getting him there on time. So I paid the 10,000 Rand, the chopper took off, they were waiting for him in Mill Park, and the end of the show came and went, and the chopper pilot messaged me and said, where's this guy? I phoned him, and bearing in mind he was already supposed to be in Sun City. And he said, oh, you know what, I just don't feel like it. A few times in my life I've been speechless. Not many, but that was one of them. And yeah, oddly, we never booked him again. So, oddly.
Well, I've seen a hell of a lot of sites, but I won't go there. But the one was, remember that bloody village walk, that bird thing? Where was it? What's it?
Gold Reef City. Gold Reef City.
Gold Reef City, that's right. So she's got a showcase on, my God. So you've got 20 minutes to do this damn thing. So this guy first he starts pushing his product before, he doesn't even say this, there was two people, doesn't even say his speech, but now he's got this eagle that's going to do something. But this damn thing flies into the rafters. And I can't get the bloody thing down. It's just sitting there the whole time. And then I said, you've got to get off, you're 20 minutes up. He was like most offended. I mean, he wanted another 3 hours.
Jacques was the MC, so he was like Toastmaster. And he stood up and he took the mic and he said, that's it.
Yeah, I could be quite assertive. And there was another, there was the same one, that other poo-poo that was supposed, sorry, no, I didn't enough one. No, that was supposed.
I have never worked with a poo-poo in my life.
Oh, you do the English version. But I'm Afrikaans. But that guy that was going to do a talk on William Shakespeare, business rules of William Shakespeare. So he pitches up and he says, oh, I haven't prepared, Bronwyn never gave me the book. This guy, needless to say, he probably hasn't been booked either. What are you doing?
I've worked with one poo-poo.
Yeah, that was a poo-poo. I laugh, I love this industry so much. Okay, let's get serious. How important is the role of an agency for a speaker? Okay.
Not at all. Shock horror, spoiler alert, you don't need us. You don't. You are absolutely and perfectly capable of building an amazing business all on your own. You don't need us. We're nice to have. But the thing is that you should consider the agencies as one wheel in your marketing spoke, and not the whole thing.
Well, I almost look at agencies as they're like banks. You know, when you've got money, they'll lend you money. When you don't, they won't. When you're famous, they'll place you. When you're not, you've got to earn your spurs and kind of get on their radar. So, you know, you heard, well, in the Professional Speakers Association, we say you haven't done 100 free speeches. You know, you've first got to do those 100 free before you start even considering yourself as a professional speaker. But I suppose millennials now, you know, your first speech, you want 20 grand, yay, amazing. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna, okay, why did you decide to self-publish? Why don't you go to mainstream publisher or something? Because the book's good enough to a mainstream publisher.
I did describe myself as a control freak, didn't I?
Oh,
Yeah, so, control freak. So that I was in charge of every possible avenue. And probably more importantly, I'm not the world's most secure human being, and I really didn't need the rejection. My ego would not have handled it. No. So I did it myself.
I mean, that is, I think the...
Sorry. Also, I do say to all my speakers in the book that if you're going to publish for fame, then go with a mainstream publisher. If you're going to publish for money or revenue, self-publishing is the way to go, because you can use the back of room to generate all the revenue. So I had to walk my talk.
For sure. I mean, I just see the book as really a business card. It really positions you. God damn that stupid book that you wrote about positioning. But I'm talking to Douglas now. But it really does position you as an expert, and you can add, as Douglas says, you can add a couple more zeros to your bank account or to your speaking fee. So now instead of 100, I can charge 1,000. Yay! I'm so excited. So you've got enough material for 2 books. Is there another book in the offing?
No, not another book like this. So I'll update this book as it needs to be, because things will date. In the book I talk about very high, sexy, funky tech stuff, which will probably date by next week. So it will have to be updated. I'm going to talk about QR codes and things like that. So that will have to be updated. And I do love writing, so it may not be about that at all. We'll see.
Well, you had such an interesting life. I'm sure you can turn it into some kind of fiction work. It's not a fiction, but it would certainly make a good read. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. So, what's next for the industry and for you personally? You want to do that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. I don't know what it is you want to do.
So, you know, I'm a homeschool mom, right? So 6 hours of my day I spend with my daughter, who I cannot see, and it's freaking me. Oh, there she is. Okay. We spend 6 hours a day together, and it is by far the most rewarding thing I've ever done with my life. It is so phenomenal to see the education and the learning and all of those dots being connected. I should have been a teacher, but I can't handle other people's kids screaming and shouting. So, you know, I compromised and I did my own thing. So that's part of my day. And obviously we've got Kucha Kucha, we've got Speakers Inc., we've got the gym in Cape Town. And then because sleep is completely overrated, I've agreed to do a radio show every Friday between 12 and 2 on #radio. So any of you who want to be on radio, I don't have a producer, I'm doing it all myself, control freak, please contact me. We need some material. By the 23rd of June would be awesome. Okay. And then I've actually had a pretty cool day. I really have, because, well, I mean, you're all here. I can't believe you're all here. Seriously. This really, I mean, my cousin is here. And I'm not even Barry Hilton. My cousin. I'm honoured. I've got 3 people in the room at the same time. Ernest, Angelique Dutoy, and Grant Driver in the same city, never mind the same room. I mean, obviously, I'm emotional, I'm moved, I'm thrilled. It's been a major day. And then, you know, I think that to just top it all off, I think it would be the right time to announce that I think the ink is dry on the contract, and that today I bought Conference Speakers International. So what's next? Not much sleep.
So you're taking over the world. Who's next?
Did you not see my Facebook post this morning?
So some clever guy, I think it's Isaac Newton, said, I see further because I stand on the shoulders of giants. And I think there's probably a couple of people in this room maybe that you are because of them. Maybe you'd like to recognize them.
So, panda alert. Homeschool 101. Primarily, and most importantly, I would like to thank my husband who's hiding behind a pillar. I see you. Not properly, I see you. So come and just... Duncan, my love. Everybody here knows who the chocolate goblin is from Facebook, and so I presume they all know who Duncan, my love, is too. Duncan is my #1 fan. He is the giant on whose shoulders I at least lean on most days. He's my best friend. And I'm very, very, very grateful for all your help and your support. I love you. And then, I also did a war story where I cried on stage in my first ever showcase. That was another. So, next. I'm very fortunate to have the two people who gave me life in the room. Mom, Dad, thank you for having sex. At least once, at very rare. Now I've embarrassed her horribly and I will pay for the rest of the night. But seriously, my mom worked with me at Speakers Inc. for a long time, like 10 years. So yeah, I don't know, a long time. And I could not, Speakers Inc. is my firstborn. It has a life of its own, it's done its own thing. And there have been peaks and troughs, quite a few troughs actually, personally. And I knew that my mom was there. My mom was always there to answer the phone and send the quotes and harass people to do things for negotiated rates. Nobody obviously in this room, but some people negotiate. When I had Jordan, I was able to go straight back to work because my mom was there to look after her, and you really have been an amazing support. Thank you. Teddy. My own Yoda. Thank you for all your wise words and your patience and your love and your support over the years, and for just listening to me rant about life generally. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, does my dad get a round of applause? Come on, people. And then I have my family here. I have, I have a thing. I do have family that I don't talk to because they're schmucks mostly. I don't think that you, just because somebody is related to you, makes them family. I think that you can choose your family. And barring one person tonight, who I'm sorry is not here, I have my family here. Nita, Penny, Dan, Silla, Nick. My grandmother's here. How cool is that? Auntie Kath, Ursula, Ken. Who else am I related to? Put your hand up. Who did? And then just because, I do things differently, obviously my daughter's here. But I also have a very special friend here who's hiding behind the palm plant there. My ex-wife-in-law. I'm going to say that again. My ex-wife-in-law. So she's Jordan's dad's first wife. You number one? I was number 2. Okay. So, and we are incredibly good friends. Donna helped me through a really, really big hiccup in my life, and I'm grateful for you. So I think, who else have I not said thank you to? Put your hands up quick. I can't see you. No, I'm not going to be disowned, disinherited. I'm missing one cousin tonight, but other than that, my family's here. I love you guys. Thank you for everything.
That's why I see our MC get brought like this. It's pretty difficult. Bronwyn, that was, I think, I was going to have a question and answer session, but I know what your answer is going to be. Everything's in the book, go buy the book. Okay, because you're not getting to speak to Bronwyn unless you buy the book first. So go and buy the book. Everything you need to know is in there. For me, you know, watching how you've grown over the last 20 years is amazing. Into an author, and I know you were nominated for Businesswoman of the Year as well, or something at some stage. So, I mean, there's like a powerhouse. You really are driven. And I think that's inspiration for many of us. In terms of the books, for those of you that haven't written a book, please, you know, take.
Sorry, I forgot one person. You didn't put your hand up, buddy. Thank you. Remember that thing about loyalty? Thank you.
I might get emotional, but I'm not going to. Yeah, put ourselves together. So, where's Deborah from Scoops? I saw her now. Yeah. So Deborah is, I think you should introduce yourselves as speakers and potential authors to Deborah, because she does support local authors. So you can have your book launches here. She's got a whole bookshelf full of local authors, and she really goes to bat for indie authors. So, you know, have a chat to her afterwards. And published, yeah, for sure. And I think she's a bastion for our industry. So if you want to be an author, and understand this, that you know, speaking sounds really sexy. We want to be speakers, but if you want to build a business, and if you want to, I don't know, create a legacy, what we want to do, you can't just do it through speaking. You know, you've got to go the Brendan Bouchard route, the Millionaire Messenger. You've got to put some consulting into it, some training, some coaching, obviously your book, and figure out what is it. It's about your message, how you get your message out. Yeah, speaking is one way, but your books are another way. And people need to hear what you have to say, because so many of us are searching, especially in the environment we're in at the moment. We're really uncertain. And it's people like that, us, that give certainty, that give hope. I mean, you know, we've opened a Pandora's box in this country, and I think the last thing left, as you know, was hope. And that's what we really do, is we give hope to people. Because without that, what's the point? None of us are going to be striving for anything. So we do honourable work here. Never forget that. And so as the speakers in the room, I salute you. Bronwyn, as an agent who gets us there, because most of us can't do it ourselves, she gets us in front of people that need to hear our message. So I think the work we do here is absolutely noble and is absolutely necessary in this country and in this world, because I think this world is teetering on the brink of, I don't know, a moral collapse. It doesn't have a North Star anymore. And we can pull that North Star together, at least help a little bit. And I'm not going to do the starfish story. Can you imagine? No, you can't imagine. And for those of you who don't know the starfish story, ask a seasoned speaker. You'll hear about the starfish story. I made a difference to that one. But anyway. So, folks, it's been my pleasure to be MC. We're going to hang around. There's still snacks. There's drinks. Of course, Douglas, you must write the book on how to be an MC. Thank you, Douglas, for those beautiful words. Soos ons sê in 7 dan daai gevleelde woorde, remember? Yeah. You do speak beautifully, and you had a voice for radio, but you were only there for a brief stint. But I think one day when you're tired and bored of this, you'll probably just go into narrating something. All the books we're going to be reading. Yeah. So, yeah, but thank you very much. So if you could give Douglas a big hand too. Okay, float my stories, eh? So have some drinks, have some snacks, mingle with each other. I think a lot of us here as family haven't seen each other for a while, so let's connect, because most of us connect at airports and maybe on Facebook. Let's connect face to face. So thank you very much, and have an awesome evening further.